It's a long road from finding out that you qualify till you actually get the organ. There were a couple of times where it didn't work out. Some people would either drop out or I got sick. When it finally happened, it was the most amazing feeling.
It's awesome. That's the best word I know how to say. Without it, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have time with my grandkids. I wouldn't have time with my family. It brings you just unspeakable joy.
Providing hope and saving lives for a decade. This is Texas Transplant Institute. Amanda Nathan and Nancy Harper were among the 50 patients who participated in the innovative paired kidney exchange program at Texas Transplant Institute.
No one tried as hard for me. No one dealt with me better, was more honest with me, and tried harder. And they were wonderful. And it was a blessing, a true blessing.
Dr. Fred LeMater is the medical director of Texas Transplant Institute, which is part of Methodist Healthcare. Methodist Healthcare formed Texas Transplant Institute in 1999 by integrating two of its programs, solid organ transplant and blood and marrow stem cell transplant. The Institute is now celebrating 10 years of innovation with kidney pancreas, liver, heart, and adult and pediatric blood and marrow stem cell transplant programs. The Institute's mission is to provide unsurpassed care, cutting-edge research, and exemplary education. This cannot be accomplished without the dedication of a highly skilled team of physicians, nurses, dietitians, social workers, pharmacists, and other caregivers. Dr. Francis Wright leads the abdominal organ transplant group. He is responsible for the Institute's outstanding outcomes in kidney transplantation.
We've got as good a staff as any place in the country, and our results are second to none. It's hard work. I can't emphasize how difficult it is to not only do living donation well, but to do these exchange transplants requires a tremendous amount of work from just all sorts of people, and there are very few institutions that can pull this off.
The Institute recently celebrated a national transplant milestone, its 50th paired kidney exchange transplant during a 19-month period. Most transplant centers have performed only a handful of the paired exchange procedures, but Texas Transplant Institute's amazing number of exchange transplants at a single center makes the Institute's program the busiest exchange transplant program in the country. There are approximately 2,600 South Texans in need of a kidney transplant.
Before a program like this existed, people were just called on the phone and told no, and that was the end. And then they sit on dialysis for all those years waiting. And so this gives them another option. We call them and we tell them it's a no with their donor, but it's not a no because there's an opportunity to have an exchange type of a situation. And that gives them new hope.
Dr. Adam Bingaman and the Institute's Incompatible Donor Program were instrumental in achieving this milestone. The innovative donor program involves patients who need a kidney transplant and have a willing donor. But the two are not a match, so they swap with another patient and donor who are in the same situation.
So we're really moving, in some ways, puzzle pieces around so that everybody can receive a kidney from a matched donor.
The Institute's liver transplant program also has national and statewide recognition. Its success rate ranks as one of the highest in the country. It has the best patient survival and the best outcomes of any liver transplant program in Texas. Dr. Preston Foster, who leads the liver transplant program, credits 3 aspects for the program's high marks. They use different techniques to preserve the liver during the operation. They have a unique approach in preventing hepatitis C in the new liver, and
the patient is seen in the same office by the same doctors early in their liver disease, late in their liver disease, as well as during the operative procedure, and then forever post-transplantation. I think that helps in the care of the patient.
The Institute's blood and marrow stem cell program is one of the largest in the country. Dr. LeMater predicts physicians at the Institute will transplant between 170 to 200 patients this year. The Texas Transplant Institute offers one of the most comprehensive pediatric hematology oncology transplant programs in the nation. Dr. Kawa Chan leads this program. Recently, the team at Methodist Children's Hospital reached a significant milestone by performing its 200th unrelated cord blood transplant. The program also has experienced success using bone marrow transplantation to cure children born with sickle cell disease and other blood disorders.
We are very proud to achieve our milestone, which is doing 200 cord blood transplants for our patients. We are the third largest program in the country up to this moment, and I think we are going to continue our effort to serve South Texas, the neighboring area, and being the only program in this region in San Antonio.
The Institute's Heart Failure and Heart Transplant Program is the largest heart transplant program in South Texas. It's headed by Dr. Michael Kwan.
I think the benefit to having multiple programs working underneath one roof is it gives you an ability to do things you can't otherwise do. So we've had discussions about heart transplants followed by liver transplants, or heart transplants followed by kidney transplants. We've had a number of cases now of amyloid heart. It's actually systemic amyloid. And that's the kind of thing where the heart transplant isn't the cure, but what it does is it actually allows you to get the curative procedure, which is either a bone marrow transplant or a liver transplant. Those kind of options wouldn't be available anywhere else.
Doctors within Texas Transplant Institute have performed nearly 300 heart transplants and implanted 100 cardiac assist devices to date. 2 cardiologists work with the heart transplant program. They have special interests in end-stage cardiac disease and ventricular assist devices. Similar organizations offer solid organ transplantation and blood and marrow transplantation within the same center, but they aren't as integrated as Texas Transplant Institute.
I can pick up the phone, call another attending physician, and immediately get an answer on the phone. They're over to see my patients the same day. I'm not going through layers of bureaucracy or at some other maybe larger teaching centers. And those centers are good and they have their role, but here it's all about the patient.
Transplant services are provided at Methodist healthcare facilities, including Methodist Hospital, Methodist Heart Hospital, Methodist Children's Hospital, and Methodist Specialty and Transplant Hospital. Texas Transplant Institute, celebrating a decade of compassionate care and cutting-edge programs.
If I could shout it from the mountaintops, I would. This is the way to go. This is the place to go. These people are so caring, so loving, and they give us joy. They give us hope for our future that nobody else could give.